Welcome everyone, it is the SEMA Central stage right here, SEMA 2014. My name's Dennis Pitzenbarger, sitting next to me, Dave Wilson from TRD, the president of TRD. How does the president of Toyota Racing Development get into a suit? What is this? What's going on here?
It's crazy, isn't it? But I'm thrilled to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, it's a lot of fun. I don't even know where to start with because, as being a huge NASCAR fan, the first thing I gotta say is, what a jump and a leap of faith you guys took 10 years ago. And, everybody said you guys were crazy, and now you're winning race after race. I mean, it's got to be very satisfying to watch the development of the Toyota Racing department really move forward in racing and be a powerhouse in racing.
Thanks, Dennis. NASCAR's really been a great place for our company. And you're right, 10 years ago, I don't know if people thought we were crazy, but it was a very polarizing consideration.
Yeah.
I mean, NASCAR is the bastion of the domestic, car builders, and here comes Toyota. So it's been a great ride ultimately, and what we've come to find out is we've become accepted. We're just one of the guys now, and but it gives us such a great platform to talk to Americana. I mean, NASCAR, it's hard for me to believe sometimes. Our company's only been selling cars in the US since 1957. But one of the things that we quickly realized is that motorsports, racing, performance, it's a part of this culture.
Yeah.
And so when we decided, to go NASCAR racing, that's the heart of it. That's part of this culture, and we needed to be there.
Well, great competitors breeds great competition, and that's what makes that successful, or at least to the eyes of a person who's a fan, because the more the merrier might be the way to look at it.
Exactly.
And I want to talk about, it's not just the big scale stuff like that, but you guys are really in grassroots racing from the bottom up. Maybe talk about how great it is to be a supplier to everybody from that wants to go drag racing, road racing, or the regular general guy on the weekend.
Sure. Well, that's really where we got started, Dennis. 35 years ago, 1979 is when TRD came to be, and we literally started off as this sleepy little speed shop in Southern California, and we brought over, we developed accessories for Toyota's Celica Supras, and then we started racing in the early 80s, off-road. But the grassroots side, SCCA, we've been there for nearly 30 years, and it's those weekend warriors that need performance parts for their Toyotas that really is important to us because those folks have been incredibly loyal and gave us a platform to get more serious about racing. Whether it's sports car. Open wheel IndyCar, we had a great run there not that long ago, and now, of course, NASCAR.
Talk a little bit about what you got going on here at SEMA at the Pro Series. I know that's very near and dear to your heart. Talk about what you got going on this week.
Yeah, we've got a lot of exciting things in the Toyota display this year at SEMA. One of the highlights, I think, is the TRD Pro Series. So this is a sub-brand that we've helped develop for Toyota, and it's geared towards the body-on-frame trucks, the Tundra, Tacoma, and 4Runner, but some real heavy-duty off-road accessories, springs, shocks, skid plates. We're taking it, and the great thing is we're going to take it and race it. There's the race truck that's heading down to Baja to run the 1000 TRD Pro Series Tundra. And that's what it's about. It's about proving that technology, in the most grueling environment of the desert. Absolutely.
Where do you think, with the huge leaps and bounds that TRD as a brand has gone through the last few decades, where do you see it in the future?
Well, that's a great question, Dennis, and we'll be talking a lot about that later on one of the panels that I'm on. One of the things that all of the OEMs are talking about is relevancy, and how do we keep the racing and the forms of racing relevant? How do we keep and grow the youth audience in motorsports.
Good point.
And that's something, particularly with NASCAR, that we're having a lot of great dialogue, because we all recognize that we need to keep that pipe full and get some kids, more kids to the racetrack. So one of the things, again, that we're talking about is relevancy, and making sure that what we're racing, that there is a tie to what we're selling in the showrooms. So we've got a great example of that with these new cars that we're running in NASCAR. A few years ago, the OEMs, NASCAR, we had this open dialogue, and we accepted the fact that over the years, the cars that we were racing kind of evolved into this amorphous shape that I call that we did more we did more decal engineering to create the identity of our respective brands. And it lost, the charm of the 60s and 70s when you could recognize a Ford and a Chevy and a Dodge.
For that matter, a Buick or an Oldsmobile or down the road.
Exactly. So we all, the neat thing is that we all got together and we collaborated on fixing that. And manufacturers worked side by side, which again sounds a little counterintuitive. How can we work together when we're trying to beat each other's brains out every Sunday? But the fact is that while we compete in the showrooms and on the racetracks, we share a lot of the same values, and we want NASCAR to be successful well into the future. So what came from that is this, what they call the Gen 6 cars, which debuted 2013. But today, that Camry that we race in NASCAR, it really does closely resemble the Camry that we sell in the showrooms, and that's important.
Yeah. And it's a great message too. It's kind of that old adage of, race on Sunday, sell on Monday. So anyway, David Wilson, TRD president, thank you so much for coming by the SEMA Central stage. You look more at home in a race suit than that suit.
Thanks very
much. You look a lot better than a race suit, so I know that you're a competitor at heart. More from SEMA Central coming up soon.